Hey y'all, so I just wanted to do a video about customization and custom assets and, kind of a little overview on some of the assets we have right now and what assets we might incorporate in the future. I don't necessarily have all the assets because I, opted for one kind of figure over the other, being the female presenting figure 1, as opposed to the male presenting figure 0. But I just wanted to give, a look as to assets we've done and how, I did them, incorporated them, as well as assets that we might do in the future. Or that could be potentially done in the future, just so, there's a discussion about how to do that. So, some of the assets we have are different hairstyles. We currently have 4, if you also include religious assets, which are just labeled as a hair because they're palletized in the same way as the hair. They are brown. For the demo file, I made them, for the demo file, right now, I made them, the hair B color, just because, I made them that color, just, to more so reflect that they were these, fabric kind of based religious assets, as opposed to, other things. But, yeah, so for the assets right now, we have 3 different sets of eyes, which I've pretty much reflected. Here we have this almond shape, this kind of, pointier shape, and then, eyes that are a bit more rounded. So those are the different eyes. We also considered doing different noses, was one thing that was suggested to me. So, we have, this kind of round nose. I added a pointy nose and one that was more, downturned, I guess. So, those are just a few different nose shapes, potentially, that you could do if you're doing noses. Now, the thing about noses is they'll be kind of tricky because it means you need to draw the figures maybe without a nose and stuff, and, how I did it here was I had, just the one nose already on the figure, and then I basically used the skin tone to create this kind of blob to black out the old nose and draw the new one on, and that's how I did it. So that would be a way to do it. You can figure out your own way. As you can see, the lines around the nose and also things in the ear, things in the shadow are colored the skin B color. And by the way, when you start working on this project and you start getting ready to color things, make sure you have this image. This is what you want. This is the palette guide that makes sure your clothes are going to be the right colors, your hair, and just, everything is going to have a right color and everything's going to have, like, its place. And actually, here's something I did wrong. I colored the hair, or the eyebrows rather, this color. It's that kind of darker color when they should be this color. But, yeah, so basically that's what you're going to want to do, is just make sure you have that. So, hair we already have would be like, this kind of, bun for a more curlier texture of hair, as well as we have long hair hairstyle, and short hair hairstyle. But we don't have the long hair or the, short cut hair in different textures, which is what I added. And we do have a hijab for figure 1, but I also took and added, this kind of a turban option. I thought another thing to potentially add for customization would be, like, different types of medical aids. So the ones I have are a cochlear implant, as well as, different prosthetics. So we have one for the arm and one for the leg, and that would just be basically you just copy and paste the arm over whatever arm it is, and add, you know, these kind of little details, so that, you know, so that it's correct. And that would be what you do. And that pretty much covers over all my additions. I mean, unless you want to count this hat, which, I just had that because this is actually another file originally, and I decided to mess around with it and kind of show assets and show what they look like. Now, because, hair, each color kind of has, you know, one color for, like, you know, how it is, like the outfit A and outfit B, so that's like the main color, and then there's one for shading. Same with skin A and skin B. We don't have right now a hair B. That could potentially be something to look into in case we wanted to shade, you know, the hijabs or the turbans or any of the other things. As for the prosthetics and potentially adding medical aids as like a custom asset, they don't really need to be palletized. But, you know, if that's something to add, that's just something to consider in the future going forward if, you know, looking at more assets. I'm just trying to think, you know, how they could be thinking when, you know, they look at this and how you potentially might want to go about achieving drawing those things. Because some I said, like, you know, the noses potentially, as well as drawing, you know, maybe some other custom assets that are new that they want you to add. You know, that could be a bit challenging. But there you go. So that's basically just an overview of the custom assets that we have right now, what we potentially might add in the future, how to color them, how to palletize them. And again, before you color anything, make sure you have this. And if you're making something new, like say you were making a prosthetic arm, ask if they want that to end up being palletized or not, so that you know to color it a specific thing, basically. So just make sure anything that is going to have the color changed or be custom in some kind of way, make sure you know what to name it. These here in this file aren't necessarily named right, but like, for example, this would be like figure 1, eyes, you know, 2, right? That's how these things are labeled. They're labeled like what figure it is and what set of, you know, eyes it is. And it doesn't start at 1, you know, like you don't have I1, I2. It starts at 0, because that's just a bit of how coding works. So, basically, you know, you want to make sure you have your file names, or your layer names right, and that you're palletized right. So make sure you confer with your team, like, what they want the names of certain layers of certain assets to be, and how they want those things colored. But other than that, once you get there, you're pretty much good to go. And a big help is make sure you have this guide, because that will help you.